So this is a video of how to edit agent commission rules in the system and then apply them to a course enrollment and see the percentage that gets applied to that course enrollment. And then once that percentage is applied, it gets used in calculations for all the course fee records. Okay, so the first thing I'm actually going to show you how to do is edit the the commission amounts. So for that, we go to the agent side menu tab, and you can see that there's two agent commission rules section, one called commission rules and one called agent commission rules. So the first one called commission rules here is basically like where you can go in and define global commission rules that you can then assign to an agent. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So I'm going to click on commission rules, and like anything in the system, I'm actually first going to do a search to see what commission rules have been defined. So you can see here, there is 3 commission rules defined, a 25%, a 20, and a 12. So I'm actually going to define some more. So I'm actually going to have a look at how these ones were defined before I make my choice. So you can see here, this commission rule will get applied to anyone who's enrolled in an undergraduate course of type standard fee. They'll get a 25% commission. So this is a very, very simple rule, and it's a very broad catching rule as well. So I'm actually going to define a new rule for international students and make it a little bit more specific and show you some of the other fields. So this is also set to country Australia. Okay, so let's add a new rule. And that's now blank the form. So I'm going to say this is going to be a postgraduate international 30% rule, and I'm actually going to fill in date from and date to. So what this does is it applies this rule for unit enrollment, for course enrollments between these particular dates when you assign the student an agent. So an important thing about this is when you assign an agent to a course enrollment, it then comes to this table, uses as many fields as it can to match onto choose the appropriate rule and apply it. So I'm now just going to set up a rule here, and I'm actually going to expire this rule in 2023. So as you can see here, I've now set up a rule. It's not country related. It's for postgraduate international 30% where your course enrollment is between these dates. I'm actually going to set that back a bit so we get a bit broader scope. So the last thing I'm going to set down here is status. And there's 2 statuses that are important here for assigning new rules to agents, and that is immutable and proposed. Obviously, unconfirmed is obvious. It's not been confirmed by someone, and archive means you no longer want to use that global rule or template rule. So this is really setting up template rules to then apply to agents. So immutable means that when it's assigned to the agent, you can't change any of the values. Proposed means you can assign it to a particular agent. The reason for this is you might have, in some cases, lower level staff levels assigning agent commission rules to agents, and you don't want them to really change the rules from your global rules. You want to say, give this agent the global rule, and that's that. So I'm going to hit save here. So I'm now going to actually save this rule. And if we do another search, we should see that I have now got a 30% rule for international fee. So now we want to assign this to agents, and I've come here and it says I don't have an agent loaded. So I'm actually going to now load an agent, and then we'll assign a rule to an agent. So here we go. I'm going to load up my expert agent, and I'm now going to assign that rule to this particular agent. So if we look down here, we can see all the information about the agent, their contacts and their notes, but we want to really do agent commission rules. So the first thing we're going to do is go, look, they've already got some existing rules. That's really cool. We're going to assign another one. So we're going to search for this particular rule, or all the rules that we want to assign, and they appear here, and then we just click on the one we want to give this particular agent. So now if we scroll back up, we can see that this particular agent has been given our new 30% rule. We could actually change this rule and say, hey, look, it's proposed. We want to do some quick changes to it because we don't think it's actually correct. So we can hit edit and come in here and change the commission percentage to 28% and hit save. So now we're saying that that rule is now saved, and I've also just noticed the date's not right. So let's just set the date to 23, so it actually has a bit wider coverage. So now this rule will apply for this particular agent, will apply for these particular values. So let's just see how we can assign a commission rule to a course enrollment and how that process works. So now I'm going to quickly look for a student, and I'm actually going to search for a student by student number. So I'm going to say anyone who's got a student number in 2019. And I also just want active, so I'm going to redo that search. So here come my students. I think I want to edit this one, Marsfield. And Marsfield has a couple of course enrollments. I'm actually going to edit this one here. So I've now gone in to edit that course enrollment. So to simply assign an agent to a student, we go down to the agent field and start typing in agent. So in this case, I want to assign my expert one because I know that's the one that's going to have all the commission rules. And then when I do save course enrollment, you'll see that it will come back and say what the percentage rule that it matched on based on the criteria for this course enrollment and matching as many fields as it can on the particular agent rules. So here it's actually chosen the 28% one because this person is of type international fees. So as you can see, they got the correct fee amount. That concludes this video. I hope it helps.